What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Great Men with Shane Sams, and I got a good one for you today, man. I was just hanging out with this guy not 2 weeks ago. His name is Austin Netzley. He's the founder of 2X, a company helping 6- and 7-figure service business entrepreneurs double their business in 90 days. 2X has helped private clients generate $250 million in revenue. That is preposterous. And he's got some great stories of what happens to an entrepreneur in the room when they're by themselves. It's one thing for all the good stuff to be happening out in the real world, but there's things going on under the hood. Austin, my man, what is going on, dude?
Shane, dude, it's a pleasure to be here. I love your work. I love your mission. I love all the message that you share. So I'm excited to just be a part of this. Thanks for having me.
I got to give you some props because I've been around the game a long time. I'm a dinosaur when it comes to the online world. 2012, that's when we got started around here, and that was when the world was supposed to end. But that was
Mm,
when my world began.
mm,
And man, your business partner, Tom, he's one of my probably best friends in the world. I love that dude so much. But I really love what you guys have built. Like I've spoken at a couple of your masterminds, and the quality of people that you guys bring in is absolutely unbelievable, man. Did you know that 2X was going to turn into what it was, and just the quality of humans that you guys get to work with on a daily basis, man? Like how does that make you feel? Like looking back on what you've created?
I mean, it makes me feel amazing. So the two things that I'm most proud of are number one, my family and the life that we've created as my family. We live in like 5 different states, but we're super close, super connected. And then second is the people of 2X and operations.com and what we're building there, both from a team standpoint and a client standpoint. Like you said, we've got just world-class people. Like every day, there's
It's
hard things
unbelievable.
going on, but I get to work with great people, like both on the team and from a client standpoint, that it makes it fun. It's like whatever the challenge is, let's go and attack it. And yes, every once in a while, a bad apple comes in that creates a lot of stress. But if you're working on,
100%.
even if it's a hard problems, but it's great people, life is good. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Totally, man.
super blessed with the team that we have, the clients that we have, the community that we have. And to answer your question of did I see that? I did see that, right from the start. Like before you start any business, the first thing that you need is a vision, right? You need a vision, a
Hmm.
mission of where you're going to go and what you're going to create. And that's the first thing that I did to start to rally those initial team members, and then brought on Tom on board as you mentioned, and other amazing people, and now we're here, and it's not all perfect science to get there. There's a lot of ups and downs, some of which we'll
Oh
talk
yeah.
about, but if you keep your core values at the center and the vision of where you want to go, and just keep going through those hard times, like you start to look back and be like, wow, we do have a pretty cool group,
Good. That was pretty cool shit. I pulled that off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what I do when I skid in sideways through the parking lot, and I'm like, oh, I did it. The parallel parking works. Nobody died. You know what I'm saying? We got here. We got here,
Yep.
man. It's funny that you say vision. That's one of the things that we do a lot at greatmen.org is talking about vision, because a lot of people, man, they get stuck. And what I have found, because I've done a lot of like work on myself in the past 6 or 7 years, really just unpacking more of the past. I find that's the block that most people have with their
Mm,
vision is it's really easy to dream up a story of the future that doesn't exist and you can see
mm,
maybe a possibility. But even with a vision, I find that a lot of men get stuck there. And some of it is because they're still living a story from the past,
yep.
right? These things that happen to us along the way, they kind of set up insecurities. And man, when you get into business, when you are an entrepreneur, your business is a mirror. And
Yeah. 100%.
you may not like the guy looking back at you sometimes. So
Mm,
take me back in time for me. I want to talk about a couple of things. Like, part of your story is, getting arrested for underage drinking, doing a lot of different things, to get in trouble. Your life kind of before all this crazy stuff that we do now was kind of like a little rocky, little up and down.
mhm.
Like what was the moment in that part of your life? Like how old were you when all this? I guess you were younger, then you were starting to get arrested and doing some things and going the wrong path. Like what was the wake up call? Like what do you look back at? Like I've got to get my shit together. I've got to move forward. I can't be just out partying and drinking and doing all of these different things.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it took several of those experiences for me to actually have a wake-up call. So, quick background, I grew up in a pretty small town in Ohio, and in Ohio, there's not a ton of things to do in a small town. So you drink beer and you play football. So I started
Right there
started
with you, brother.
I started drinking and 13 years old. I had my first drink, and then from that time on, I don't think I went more than a 14-day period without drinking. And I never had a problem per se. Like I never felt addicted to it by any stretch. It was just a part of my life and it was just what we did. And I'm a 0 to 100 guy. Like I'm either not going to do it or I'm going to lean in, you know? And when I drank, I oftentimes drank too much. I didn't have confidence. I didn't have the ability to talk to people. I didn't have, you know, those types of things that if I got super drunk, I was the life of the party. I was super fun. I just broke into this new person of who I really wanted to be, but I didn't know how to be and I wasn't comfortable being unless I was super drunk, right? So
Mm.
I got blacked out, man, more times than you would think. And it's funny, people see me now and they see my profile and like different things, see how structured I am and disciplined I am and whatever. And they don't think I've ever even got drunk or whatever. I'm like, bro, I have so many more crazy nights and wild stories and different things than almost anybody I know, you know, but it was definitely a different life ago. But anyhow,
Well, you started at 13.
I
You're gonna
started at
accumulate some
13.
stories.
Oh, exactly. And I didn't really slow down until about 27. That's when I finally started to slow down pretty substantially. And then by 29, I was off of basically like a 10-day bender because I was traveling. And every time I was traveling to a new place, I was seeing friends. And for them, it was a big deal for me to be in town. And for me, it was just like my lifestyle at the time. I was like, this is just a normal day. Like, we don't need to go party. We don't need to go do these crazy things. We don't need to go to a concert and stuff every night, you know. But for them, it was like a big celebration. And it just happened that we were drinking 10 days in a row. And then I was hungover for like 10 days. And I was like, what am I doing? I've got these goals to make $1 million this year, and I'm killing myself over here, literally no
Mm.
energy, just like all the things. So that there's a lot that spanned in between that. You mentioned numerous arrests and just I got some crazy stories on that, but like it was really that was the final one that I was like, you know what? I'm going to give up alcohol for 60 days. And at this point in time, again, I hadn't gone more than 14 days in my like maybe a couple times, but very few times. Like it went more than 14 days from 13 to 29 years old. And I felt so good after that 60 days. And I had
You
more
just keep
confidence. I
going.
was
Did you
able,
just keep going after that? Like when it got there, were you like, I'm
well,
just gonna
well,
keep going? 61,
well,
62,
what,
63.
well, I don't know how long I went, but I said, you know what? I still want to drink to celebrate. And I still like to do that. Like I want to drink at weddings and, you know, big events or whatever. I want to do that, you know, however many times a year, but I'm going to give up hangovers for the rest of my life. So since that time,
That's a great goal, dude. That's
yeah,
amazing, man.
yeah. So since that time, have had a couple, but I've had like 3 hangovers in a decade, whereas I used to be hungover 5 or 6 days a week. You know what I'm saying?
Amazing,
So
man.
that was the true turning point. From that standpoint, there was another turning point that we'll definitely talk about at some point in time related to burnout. So I was building my first business and just like still working an engineering job at the same time. So building both of those while living a 20 something single lifestyle and partying a little bit, not sleeping, it just all stacked up that I burnt myself out so bad that I had an anxiety attack, not once, but twice. And the second time
Damn.
I was like, all right, I'm literally killing myself and I'm super fit, 26 years old. It should be on fire. I had no energy and everything. And I was like, I'm literally going to die by 30 years old if I don't change something. So those
Mm.
were the two major turning points, giving up alcohol and really taking back control of my time and stress that shifted everything. But it was a lot of these small moments and dumb failures and whatever to get to that to really have those turning points.
The alcohol thing is interesting because like as you get older, alcohol affects you harder.
Oh
Like I'm
yeah.
48, like, right? And like if I drink more than 3 drinks, it's gonna feel terrible. When I
Oh
used to
yeah.
be able to like get the keg and have all the Jocelyn sorority over or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And
Oh
we
yeah.
would party like super hard. And but like I think that's part of small town going to college doing the thing because like I was the same way. Like we drank in high school, but like alcohol was so taboo in my house
Yeah.
and growing up, man. So when
Yeah.
you get to college or you get out on your own, there's just no stop to the spigot. It just keeps flowing, right?
Oh yeah.
And I'll tell you a funny story. I don't know if I've ever told this on. I've never told this on a podcast ever. I don't think. So I was dating Jocelyn, right? Who's my wife, and she had invited me to a sorority formal, and I was like, "Sweet, we're going to binge drink." That's pretty much what my 20-something-year-old self thought, right? We're
Yeah.
gonna get
Yeah.
blackout
Yeah.
drunk or whatever it was. And we went there and we were all drinking, we were having a good time, we were partying. I rented a tuxedo, like, all this, for a formal. And I just drank like way too much. And I was really, really, really intoxicated at this dance. And this was when we first started dating and like we were falling in love and all this stuff was happening. And this like It looked like something out of a movie, man. Like the lights were like blue and like this
Yeah,
slow song played, and like I'm standing there and I'm looking into her eyes, and like and I'm hammered out of my mind, and I thought, oh my gosh, I love this girl. I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna tell her right now how much I love her. And I looked at her and I said, I love you. But instead of saying Jocelyn, I said my ex girlfriend's name.
no way, bro.
Dude,
How,
okay.
how long into the relationship were you at this point?
Oh, this is like a month or two, man. Like a couple
Oh,
months. I mean, but we were hot and heavy. I mean, we kind of were a thing immediately. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I say this to her, and I'm like, oh, my first thought was I had the courage to say that out loud, but then my brain caught up, and I thought, oh God, that no, your name's Jocelyn. Jocelyn's your name. Like, oh, dude, she total pissed off.
Oh my
She
gosh.
gets away from me. I go to the bathroom to throw up. She tells some guys like, I don't want to see you anymore. Just take him up. I had a hotel room where I had partied before, and so I go. They take me upstairs. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. And I go upstairs. Like my key won't work. This is back when we had keys, not these damn
Oh
cards.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Austin, I tried to open the door, couldn't get in. I start banging on the door. I can't figure out how to get in. The dudes leave me there. Next thing I know, there's three cops walking down the hall.
No
And,
way.
dude, and I like apparently the guy I put up a good fight apparently with these three cops because they finally tried to get me, and I pushed one and I was fighting the other two, and I got just the shit beat out of me, man. And
No.
they took me to jail. I didn't know where the hell I was.
Oh my gosh.
So I wake up the next morning in my dorm room, and I'm like, how the hell did I get here? I must have had a lot of fun last night. I didn't remember any of this in the morning,
No.
but I felt bad. Dude, I go to the bathroom, I come back, I look in the mirror, and there's a paper. I look at myself, and I've got like a black eye. I have heart monitors on me, and like I look on the thing, and Jocelyn had taped my bail receipt, and she said, "Thanks for a wonderful evening."
No way. Oh my gosh, dude.
But that was my moment where I was like, it all worked out. Okay, I
Yeah.
was like, we talked. Yes, it all worked
How
out.
did you recover from that?
Bro, man, it was. I don't know, man. I mean, it must have just been love, man. I just
Yeah.
was like, hey, because it was, I think it was both. We both were pretty mature for our age, and like,
Yeah.
I had just broke up with this girl a month before I met Jocelyn. Like, it was not,
Mhm.
and she had just gotten out of a relationship too, and like, so we just talked it out, man, and we made it through that. But I did learn, like, is that what you want your life to be, dude? Like
Oh yeah.
ruining relationships and freaking whatever, and. I made a 3 drink minimum rule for the rest of my life. I was like, 3 drinks will get
Oh,
me buzzing and feeling pretty good. I like to drink at weddings and celebrations and hang out and drink with my buddies,
yep.
but it turned it around. How many times did you get arrested before you decided this is bullshit?
Well, four that I remember. I thought it was six, but I can't remember the other two. So four,
That's not
but
good.
some of them were super boring. Like I was just like with the wrong people. I mean, I was of course underage drinking and at a club and with the wrong people, but then we just got pulled over for tinted lights, and then we were in the back seat, then we got underage. So that one was boring. Another one was boring of my friends like we were walking home from a party, and all my friends like took their beers and drinks and like threw it in somebody's lawn, and like I don't litter, like I'm a good human, so I like crunched my can and whatever was carrying it, and we walk around the corner and we bump into two cops, and then they see in my hand that I
Oh
had,
no,
and I'm like,
dude.
and I'm not even drunk. I'm like, hey man, I didn't want to litter. Like I just got it in my hand. Like I was like, very calm about it. And they were like, hey, you got to go with us. Put your hands behind your back. And that was, that was the first one. And I was like, come on, man. I'm the only good Samaritan in this group for you right now.
I put the
Uh,
shopping cart back in the rack. Come
yeah,
on, yes,
exactly,
I did it,
exactly,
dude.
exactly. So, and that was during football season. I played college football. So I was like, oh man, my coach is gonna kill me, right? And I was basically just out for like the first couple plays, and then I went in and I had like 2 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries that day, and it was my best game ever. I was like, I'm gonna get arrested every week and just like ball out the next week.
Yeah, that's the logic of a 20-year-old
Yeah,
right there,
exactly,
man.
exactly,
The
exactly. But then,
correlation does not equal causation, man. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
good, dude.
There's one super long one. I don't know if we can get into that one, but the last one is my buddy was getting married, and I was in the wedding. And the night before the wedding, we all go out to a bar, and we're all drinking. And it's in a fairly small town, but this town is known for having like dick cops essentially. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do
yeah.
not want to mess with the cops, right? Like it's well known for that, and I'm like not even from that town. So anyhow, we have a good time, and we're walking home, and the city is dead. It's like 2 a.m. after the bar closes, and there's nobody out. We're walking home, and we turn around this corner, and there's like only one car on this entire street. It's like downtown, and it's a medium-sized town, so there's like not skyscrapers, but pretty tall buildings, and one car on the entire street, and there's this light that is like glaring down on this thing, and it's kind of like this moment of like, oh, like you just see it, and it's like calling to me, right? So I'm like in the middle of conversation with a couple of my buddies that we're walking with, and I just take off sprinting because I'm like I'm feeling good, and I take off sprinting towards this car, and I take one step on the front hood of this thing, and I jump over the entire car long ways and land on the other side. It's the greatest athletic feat I've done in my life. Like one step over a long sedan, right? And
Oh,
and I land this thing, and I'm feeling so good about myself. And I look up, and 15 yards ahead is this police car. And this police car is pulling out of this parking garage, and this policeman turns over, he looks at me, and his face is like this. He's just
oh
he's
no.
just shocked, and he
Yeah.
just sees me, and I'm like, shoot, I'm caught. And he walks up to me, turns on the sirens, whatever. I put my hands behind my back, and I said, "Take me home, sir." And he comes in, he pushes me up against the wall. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Like I already surrendered, and he just
To
pushed
be
me up.
fair, he did just see you Superman over a
He
Suburban. He didn't.
he, he did.
He's probably like, this dude can get away.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So he pushes me up against this brick wall. I like cut my face a little bit. I'm like, what the heck's going on? So I'm like, he's like, do you know where you yeah, do you know where you are, sir? And I said, Springfield, Ohio. He said, no, do you know where you are? And I said, like downtown Springfield, Ohio. He said, look up. I look up, and I see Springfield Police Department. He's like, I didn't even get onto the street of my shift, and I see you
Oh,
jump over this car, and
amazing.
and then he's like, do you know what car you just jumped over? I said, yeah, just car right there. And he's like, no, that's an unmarked police car. And we go
Oh
over and we
no.
look at it, and I've got a dent on the front from where I jumped over, which if you mess with the, federal vehicle, that's a felony, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
here I am. I got my buddy getting married. We got to wake up at 6:30 a.m. to get ready for early pictures for an early wedding, and I'm super drunk, and then I'm taken in and whatever, and I'm dealing with this potential felony, and my buddies have to go and wake up every single person. Like they're trying to scrounge because all the ATMs are closed at this time. So they're trying to get all the money they can from everybody, $20 here, 30, whatever, to scrounge up enough money to bail me out. And they finally do so. They finally like wake up everybody, get enough money. They come and get me out at like 5:30, and I have like 45
Amazing.
minutes of sleep, wake up 6:30. So anyhow, that was one. And I lived out of town at the time too, that it was just expensive to go back and get that one. But that one was one. And then there's another one that was the worst night of my life, and I was on the run from the cops and in a t-shirt in the middle of Ohio in the winter, and it took like hours, and I was just ready to just like just surrender. I was just like ready to just put myself in, and I almost got out, and then ended up getting arrested and whatnot, and then I fake cried to try and get it minimized, and long story short. So anyhow, those were a couple, man, but it's just like it was all
Oh
just from
God.
like pushing the edge, and I played like football, so everybody was bigger than me, and I
Where'd you
tried to
play at?
keep up
Where'd you
with
play at?
them. Ohio Northern University, and I played
Okay.
free safety, and hung out with people that were 50, 100, 150 pounds more than me, but I was going to drink with them, and it's like it didn't work out. The formula just didn't add up. So
That's
yeah, but the
amazing, man.
real thing was is like the insecurity that I was trying to get across, right? Like I didn't have
Totally.
confidence, I didn't have the ability to communicate, I really didn't even like know how to have fun, but I would unleash when I was drunk, and that was like a great world for me to escape to. And it took a long time to build the confidence to be able to like have that same fun and confidence and charisma without that.
Yeah, I totally know what you're saying because like I've always been like a big personality. Like I've always been very loud and very boisterous and speaking. And Substances are weird, man. Like I have a great relationship with substances now from journey work and doing some other things and
Yep.
understanding what are tools and what are not.
Yep.
But alcohol for me, like it calmed me down and it made me like it took me down a step. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah.
Instead of like being because I can be overwhelming in a room. Like that's why I think it's why I became a speaker because I can hold the attention of the back row in a stadium. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
mm,
But alcohol would always like the more I drank, the more it chilled me out. So I
mm,
could there would be a point when I would binge drink in college where I would land in the moment, right? And
mm.
I could actually look around and slow down and say, "Oh, I'm with this person. Oh, I'm listening to this music. I'm not constantly tracking everyone in the room to see if I can entertain them or be the guy or be the
Yeah.
whatever." And I would learn later, like, literally 2 years ago that that was medicating my ADHD is what it was doing. And it was
Interesting.
the first time in my life that I was able to chill the fuck out and be actually in the moment. Okay.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
that I think that's why it's so intoxicating, man, because like when you have those insecurities, when you have things you've not worked on yet, you know what I'm saying? Alcohol, man, it's a hell of a drug, dude. And it's why it
Yeah.
destroys so many people. But
Oh, for
we've
sure.
survived, bro. We made it out.
We're on the
We
other
survived our
side.
20s. We did it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. Yeah, on the other side. It's interesting that it was a depressant for you. And I know
Yeah.
it's technically a depressant. For me, it was an amplifier, man. It was the opposite. It was as
Oh,
if
I
I was
get it,
taking
man.
cocaine, It was
Yeah,
like,
man.
and I've never done cocaine, but like,
The it gives you what you need. That's the problem with stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
interesting.
And if you're not using it as a tool for exploration or a tool with a singular goal, it can totally overwhelm you. And I think that's kind of like where like talking about anxiety and burnout, like when we get into like business, it's all tactics, it's all strategy, it's all systems, it's all operations, it's all sales, it's all marketing because you have to learn those things. But I have found that it's the inner outer connection that you're actually going to have to fix, that you're actually going to have to work on. Like, what's the reason you need that alcohol to be the guy that jumps over the car? What's the reason you need that alcohol to be the guy that can actually chill out and like be present? And like you and Tom, like you talk about systems, team, data, mindset, all these different things. But what is the mindset of an entrepreneur? Like, what do they actually have to go in to work on before they get burnt out? Like when you got burnt out in your business and you just fried yourself, like when you looked in the mirror, like what were those insecurities that were driving that burnout? What did you do about that burnout when the anxiety started overwhelming you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we talk about systems operations, growth, sales, marketing, all these other things, but kind of what you're alluding to is like all of that is baked around one thing, and that's the mindset. And if we don't
Mm-hmm.
develop and transform that, the other stuff doesn't matter at all,
Mm-hmm.
and your business will never far exceed where you are at as the leader, right? And the more that
Mm-hmm.
you can develop yourself, the easier that everything else is. So we give all these other things because, yes, they matter, but we're really trying to develop the entrepreneur because if we can do that and develop their mindset, their beliefs, their identity, their the way that they operate, like everything else is actually pretty easy. One of my favorite quotes is from Steve Jobs. He says everything in this room is created by people just like you and me. So when you understand that you can do anything if you put the proper mindset first and foremost and then the proper execution behind it, you can do anything. But it really starts there, and that's the limiting factor. But what you shared earlier is like we like when we were starting out, you're talking about kind of the past, and we get held by the past. And the way that I see it
Mm-hmm.
is there's three pieces. So there's this past that is like an anchor, that if we're not able to address that head on, we're not able to like cut that anchor, right? So there's this big thing that's this weight that's holding us back. The other piece is like we need a vision of where we're going to go, a compelling vision that just lights us up, that we feel internally, that we see. Because if we have a big vision, you're going to deal with problems. But if you have a small vision and you got a problem that comes up and your vision's about this big and your problem's about this big, it's not worth fighting that hurdle to get to the vision that's that same size. But if you have a vision that's this big, right? If you're listening to this, I'm making a, 18-inch kind of height, And that same problem that you had before is now it's just like, I'll figure out a way to get around that. I got this big vision on the other side. So we need to cut the weight of the past. We need to have a clear and compelling vision of where we're going in the future. And then we need to have an identity of who we are now that's going to help
Ooh,
us
that's good.
create that future, right? And very few people have done those three pieces well. Identified and done the work on their past. And no matter if you even have a great upbringing, like for the most part, I have a really healthy upbringing, but I still had a lot of things to address from the past, right? I still had to get clear on a super compelling vision. And then I still have to create an compelling identity of who I need to be. And my favorite Tony Robbins lesson of all, he says, this Tony Robbins guy, this guy that's impacting billions of lives or millions of lives around the world, this guy that's feeding so many people, this guy that you look up to, all the things. I created this mother effer, right? And as
Mm.
soon as he said that, I was like, wait a minute. Yes, he was built with these crazy talents and skills, and he's 6'5" or whatever he is, all these things. But he created the person that he is that we look up to. And then as soon as I learned that, I was like, I can create whoever I need to be. So yes, it doesn't happen instantly, but it can happen way faster than you think to create whoever you need to be. So create that identity for who you need to be that is going to make that vision a reality, right? So those are the three pieces, and you got to nail each one
Yeah,
because it's an ongoing journey and evolution of those. But that's what
totally,
we need
man.
to do.
That's actually really well put. I just want to reiterate that for everybody listening because I've never heard it said like that. I've been on a similar journey too. You know, what happened to me was, and I think this is probably common for a lot of guys out there, is I had the vision and I figured out this huge vision and I figured out the identity that I needed to get there, but it was almost like it wasn't my identity I wanted. I kind of knew how that identity
Mm,
worked. Does that make
yeah.
sense?
Oh,
So
totally.
it's like I put on a mask of that identity, but I ignored the past
Yep.
and I ignored the insecurities, the blind spots, the inner wounds, right? And I'm the same way, man. I got a great mom and dad. I have awesome brothers, but shit happens, and
Yep.
it affects you more than you think it does, right? And but if you take the identity piece and put it in the present, like the past is old identities, these anchors that you've adopted along the way to survive and thrive.
Yep.
And I think that's why people get to the present sometimes when their vision comes to pass. And when they get to the vision and the successful outcome, it's unsatisfying, even though it was the vision they set, even though they
Yep.
did the things to get there. Because when they arrive at the vision, they look back at the identity and it wasn't the one they really wanted because they just
Yeah.
kept bringing that past shit like into it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's super interesting. That's super interesting. So alignment
Mm,
of the identity as well is just so key, right? And it's even the alignment of the vision. And this is one of the first things that we dig into people on before we give them any business guidance and whatnot. We understand where they want to go, right? But we challenge them on that because a lot of times
mm,
we think there's somewhere where we want to go, but it's really based or comparison based or something else. I was like, no, no, no. What do you really want, right? And that's an alignment piece of the vision element, not a surface level, right? And the same thing from an identity standpoint. Is it really aligned with who you want to be, right? And yes, there's an
mm.
element of like some of it is like our natural skills and who we are, and some of it is moldable and who we want to be. So it's like both sides of that. But alignment is just such a big word that I've been looking at the last couple of years, and my
Totally.
entire life changed as soon as I started getting more in alignment on all those things.
How did you start aligning that? Like for example, something an interesting situation that I had when I started a process in about 2022 that kind of ran through getting my physical health back, but then that was just to give myself a chance to get my mental health back, right?
Yeah.
And I noticed you said something interesting there about how like why do you want to be that? Is it because you're comparing yourself to someone? And a question I asked myself was who told me to be this guy? Who
Yeah.
told me I was born for this? Who told me that that's the vision I could accomplish? And when I started asking myself those questions, I realized that it wasn't me telling myself to do that. It was this guy told me I was born for this. This person told me I was destined for this. This person told me that was like my calling. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like, how did you, when you got to that place where the anxiety's kicking in, the burnout's kicking in, and you're like, I have got to align my vision more with who I want to be, not with all these other people. Like, how did you get through that? Because a lot of guys get there and they get stuck. A lot of it's sunk cost fallacy. I've worked so hard to get here, and this isn't even
Oh,
what I
for
wanted.
sure.
But
Yeah.
like you sunk cost fallacy is just bullshit. You got to let it go. That's in the past.
Yep.
But like, what was your process for realigning yourself, finding your blind spots, and healing some of those like inner wounds or whatever?
Yeah. The biggest thing, unfortunately for me, was just failing so many times and ending
Yeah,
up like, hey, I put a lot of effort into that, whether it was a relationship, whether it was a business, whether it was something else, project, whatever, that I just like, that wasn't it. And that's like 2 years or 18 months or whatever. It's just like some substantial, like, and once you do that enough, you just start to get more and more aligned on what matters. But then the second piece of that is just doing the personal development work. And for me, the most transformative personal development work that I've done is with psilocybin, right? Is like
same.
doing these journeys, and there's a couple themes that come up for me every single time I do one of those. And I like, you can do them for fun and recreation. Done that, tried that a couple times. It's not for me, but you can do them for deep exploration and personal growth. And like, that's my preferred method that I'm talking about
Totally.
here. And there's a couple themes that always come up when I do those. One is self-love, and another is like connection to soul, and another is alignment. Like those three things, and those are actually like pretty well integrated as well. Like self-love is true alignment, right? And soul
Totally.
connection is true alignment, and of course alignment is alignment, right? But it basically just opens up these worlds, take out the ego, puts everything in this status level of reality, is, and then from there it's just a matter of alignment, and you realize how short life is, how much opportunity you can do to do whatever you want, what matters, what doesn't, over time, right? And that just has you come back to, okay, wait, the game of life is actually just to be myself. Like the better that I
Ah,
can do at that, the more that I freaking win. Like
yeah,
what am I
yeah.
doing comparing my Instagram followers or bank account number or whatever? It's like, do I have everything that I want, and am I myself every day doing what I want as much as possible? And here's the fallacy on that. It's like a lot of people think doing what you want and having freedom and all this thing is like not doing anything or drinking margaritas on the beach every day. I'm like, that's fun. But what's actually really going to light your soul on fire, if you're anything like you or I, is a big
Mm-hmm.
mission, a big, like, we want a battle to fight. We want an adventure to go on. We want some challenges. We want some impact. We want all that. So it's like, it's doing hard things, but that are aligned. That makes your life worth it and purposeful and fun. And yes, of course, there's a time for the beach and chilling and having fun or whatever. Like, and we got to integrate that, but
That's
it
when
all
you
has to be
rest
in
from the
alignment.
adventure. Everybody thinks that's the adventure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No. Yeah,
That's what the
exactly.
beach is for.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. The
Yeah.
the psilocybin journeys are interesting because like that also really broke me through. Also too, like medically prescribed ketamine therapy was just that was the most profound experience on a soul level for me. That's like
Oh,
really
wow.
how I got to know my inner soul was
Yep.
going through a protocol of that. But it was the same thing. I had a similar situation, like these things that came up, like self love, soul, and alignment. And I had an experience one time where I was just like, I'm going into this to find my purpose. You ever heard
Mm.
that? Like, I'm going to find my mission. I'm going to find my calling. Those are three words I barely even use anymore, like in my journey. But like when I went into it, like nothing was happening. I wasn't finding anything. I was like, whatever. I was kind of getting frustrated. You know, sometimes like sometimes the psilocybin doesn't even kick in for you because that's not what you need right there, right? You're like, this is bullcrap. I just took 3 grams of mushrooms. Why is this not working? And then like I was sitting there and I kept closing my eyes and I'd open them and I think there was a purpose. Nah, dang it, I didn't see it. And then I'd close my eyes and I'd open them. I'm like, what is going on? So I went internal. I was like thinking, and all of a sudden, like it just hit me. I went to the bathroom. I looked in the mirror and it rang out in my head, and I saw myself, and it said, I just a clear as bell in my head. It said, everything you want is right in front of you.
Mm.
It was just me. It was just
Mm.
like, do more of me, like be more of
Mm.
me. Like don't wear the mask. Don't tell the stories they want you to tell. Don't do it because the industry says that's the best thing for business. You know what I'm saying? And it just that snapped me back into alignment. But then sometimes though, when you find something like that, you got to unwind all the shit you've been doing. You got to make changes. People are going to notice. Your friends are going to be like, "Who the hell are you? What's going on? Like, why are you changing?" I don't. I like the box I've got you in. Quit climbing out of the box, Austin. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
And you even like I've shut down businesses because of it, and like done but I've launched new businesses because of it, like as well. That freed me, man. When I stopped trying to find my purpose, and I realized that my goal was to make meaning in my
Yep.
life,
Yep.
and that just kind of freed me up like on everything. You know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
it's not this, guys, we're not talking about this happens like in one weekend and like, oh, I'm a yogi now on the top of a mountain, levitating above you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, you got to go implement and integrate and like do these things. And like I think I've noticed a difference in you for sure over the last couple of years than the first when we first met, like how you coach, how you present yourself, like how you show up in the room. Like I just want to witness your integration, man, because you're
Mm.
clearly moving in a more authentic like direction that is super inspiring.
Mm.
And as we coach men, as we coach our clients or whoever we're working with, it's so much easier now to see it in them, like their blind spots and insecurities. When we were at the mastermind last week, I was just jumping into some hot seats and helping people out. And me and Tom just kept looking at each other because Tom's a pretty self-aware guy. Like
Oh yeah.
he sees reality, and me and him would look at each other, and we would know we were like, yeah, we were both thinking the same thing. We knew it, and then like with every single person, me and Tom just coached them to realize what they already knew, like
Mm.
inside of them, like it was inside of them. So like when you work with people now that you've kind of done more of the work, like what do you think the most common blind spots you see? Like the most common blind spots people have personally on that emotional, spiritual, energetic side that they disguise as business problems, right? Like I've got a marketing problem. Nah, no, you don't. Or you don't feel safe. Like there's a difference, right? Like I got a money problem. No, you don't. You just really can't handle success for some reason because you're ashamed of it or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like what do you see when you work with people on the personal side, these blind spots that hold entrepreneurs and people back?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is like we are tainted by the Instagram culture that people think
Mm,
they should be doing things just to do them, or they're trying to be like somebody else and whatnot. That's exactly what we're talking about is the opposite of alignment, right?
mm,
So when we come in, we're like, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do that. Like you shouldn't do this if you don't want to do this. You shouldn't necessarily even want that surface level thing. You should like ask what's beneath that. What do you really, really, really want? So I feel like so many times people are working really, really, really hard, but they're going towards someone else's vision or trying to show
mm.
someone that they're successful or whatever, and or they're trying to do a strategy that just takes them off. So it's all this waste, which is really not to help them get what they truly, truly want. And
Wow.
I mean, I'm a victim of this as well. Like I literally even started 2X, the coaching company that we're talking about. I started that in part to teach myself that I was smart. Like
Mm.
I grew up always getting very good grades, near the top of my class, whatever, graduated with honors, one of the top of my class in my engineering school. And it's like while working full time and playing football, like all the things, like I had every proof that I was smart, but I didn't feel like I was smart because my sister, my little sister, she was the smart one, and she was valedictorian and all these things. And even though me and my other sister were super smart and like whatever as well, since she was the smart one, we were not the smart one. So I had to realize that I was
Oh
smart
damn,
on
that's
my
that's heavy,
own.
dude. like
Yeah,
like the identity assigned that she's the smart one, and the implied that you're not the smart one. Holy
exactly.
cow!
And my parents meant zero ill harm by that. Zero.
Totally, you inferred that. You wrote that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So I didn't realize that until again in my 30s, until a couple years into the business of, oh, wait, I'm creating this business to create all these frameworks and way to approach business so that I can teach myself and the world that I'm smart. And it's like that's a crazy reason to start a business. Like that's
Wow.
not the healthiest way. So once I learned that, we were able to shift, and I didn't like now I'm like you've been at our masterminds. Like I'm talking once, maybe twice,
Totally,
like our
man.
team is doing more than me. Like Tom's doing, 50% of it. It's like, so I'm able to let go of those things, but it's just about really, really going a couple layers deeper into what you want. What are you working on? Why are you working on it? And again, just making sure that everything is for the right reasons. And we just get so caught up in the busyness of the day to day.
Oh yeah.
And the speed of things and the things that we see, again, especially on like the Instagram culture and like all the things that it doesn't happen instantly, but it happens slowly over time in a 6, 12, 2 year, 5 year period, that you're hustling so hard for things and a vision that you don't really even want. When if
that
we
you
can
don't
get
even want.
clear on that, we can take a fast path to it. We can go to it. It's actually like right there, like you said, it in the mirror. Everything you want is right there, right?
Right.
Like it's super close most of the time that we can grab it if we get clear on that. So that's the biggest thing.
I think that's a common reason though that like I think that's why most people start their businesses and become entrepreneurs is because something's missing and they need a sandbox to go figure it out.
Yeah.
And our culture's shifting more toward doing work, therapy, and things like that. But I had a similar moment, man. Like I started Flip Lifestyle, which by every measure was wildly successful. Just millions of downloads, featured everywhere, launched my speaking career. I think we helped over 5,000 people actually start businesses and create income, right?
Nice.
Over a 10-year period, which was awesome. But like I realized actually I was with Tom when this happened. We were at a retreat in somewhere in Colorado, I think Breckenridge maybe. So I can't breathe. I'm 10,000 feet up in the air. We're figuring things
Right.
out. We're masterminding. And Flip Lifestyle, I always was so driven by it. It was one of those things where I didn't care if it was 80 hours a week. I just loved it so much. Just to give me the next person on the podcast. Like my podcast was actually not like us, like hanging out like bros. It was like I coached my clients live on air over 1,000
Mhm.
episodes,
Wow.
right? Then and released them out into the world. And we're sitting there in Colorado, and I realized, my whole career has been built on helping other people find hope in their dreams, to
Mm.
believe in themselves, to build greatness on their turn, to see in them what I see in them when I meet them and I hear about their ideas and help them build a structure around that to do it. So thousands of people, all this stuff, financially rewarding, it's all good. And we were sitting there one night and I was like, it just hit me all of a sudden. I was like, why am I so obsessed with this? But I feel like I don't feel good about what I'm doing. Right. And it hit me, oh my God, I started Flipped Lifestyle and I tried to convince thousands of people that they had it in them to be successful and build life and do what they want to do because I was trying to build enough evidence that it was true in me. Like
Mm.
I could never accept the I could accept the applause. I could accept the dopamine. I could accept the photo ops. I could accept that you changed my life. I could accept it and receive it in the moment, but it never landed.
Mm.
And I was using psilocybin, and it just hit me all of a sudden. I was like, oh my gosh, this entire business has been me trying to prove to me that I am worthy of living the
Mm-hmm.
life I want to live.
100%. Dude, that's
And
the common thing. Validation of our own good. Yeah.
yeah, it was scary though because now I'm like that was actually the starting point of not wanting to do Flip Lifestyle. I
Mm.
was like, okay, I have enough proof here. I have enough evidence here. I have enough here to go out now and start taking off those masks, to start taking off those identities and start actually shedding it and doing the work to actually get to the other side of this. But if you're always building a business for somebody else, whether it's your competitor to prove them, whether it's your mom and dad to prove them wrong, if it's even for your clients, like we all talk about service and we care about people and I want, to influence and impact people. But if you're constantly building it for everybody else and not for your true self, you've got to do something about that. But there's a gap between knowing what to do and like actually doing it. And like
Yeah.
every man in my programs, every man in your programs, like I find just like those hot seats, they know what they need to do, but most
Mm.
like won't do it. Like I'm sure you've had clients come in and they dropped the ball or whatever, and some came in and just blew it out of the water. But like, what do you think after coaching so many people, like separates the men who actually do the work to make that happen, or they get to that realization and they're like, well, I got a good thing going. I don't want to rock the boat, and then
Mm-hmm.
they just stay stuck in that
Yeah.
moment that they're not wanting to be in.
Yeah. A lot of people will have that awareness in a moment, but you're exactly right. If they don't have the identity that backs up who they actually are and who they want to be, then they're not going to do something about it, right? And we get comfortable, and it is scary to change, and that's the hardest thing about entrepreneurship. That's the
Well, it's
hardest thing
because
about
that old
growth.
identity that you adopted serves you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when you
Oh,
have that
exactly.
realization, now you got to put pen to paper. Greatness
Yep,
flows through your lips and fingertips. You got to speak it out loud now, who you want the identity to be.
yep.
And when you do that, bro, that may not be the identity that your wife or girlfriend wants you to be. That may not be
Oh,
the
100%,
identity that your past people want to be. And
100%.
there's a scary moment in that space between. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, yep, yep. Exactly, exactly. But yeah. So go back to those three things that I talked about earlier. So if we see two clients, right, they've got a clear problem and they get clear on what that solution is and what they need to do about it. If they don't have those three things that we talked about earlier covered, as far as being able to break the past and saying, hey, that's the past, I'm going to detach from that and address that head on. I understand that. I can separate from that. I've got this clear and compelling vision of where I want to go into the future. It's big, it's hairy, it's exciting, and I'm aligned with that. And I have the identity of who I am, not who even I want to be, who I am, who I
Right
choose to
now.
be today
Yeah.
as my identity. If they don't have one of those three, then they're just not going to be able to shift, right? And I can
Mm.
like literally in my mind picture right now the person that is and does take action, and the person that will take one out of three actions that they know they need to. And as a result, they're on this like slow climb, whereas this person's on a rocket ship. And it's not
Yeah,
always
man.
up straight up. Sometimes it's freaking down and it's hard, but it's like in general, they're on a rocket ship to a multi 8-figure exit, whereas this person is still trying to get to a 7-figure business, you know?
Mm.
And it's very, very clear that they've got one or multiple of those three things that are off, right? And it's hard. It is
It's
hard
very hard.
work,
You have to
right?
pick up heavy things, man. That's what you
Yeah,
got to do, dude. To like,
yeah.
get through the other side of it.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Actually, I want your take on this as well. Is like if you don't want to go to that like crazy high level, that's okay. That's totally cool.
Mm.
Like not everybody was put on this earth to go after these big hairy things. Like we have some clients that come to us and they're like they achieve all these great results and they get to a certain income and a certain hours per week that they're working and they're like, I'm good. Like I'm done. Like this is
Yeah.
where I want to stay. I'm good. Like, and it's not my job to push them to say, dude, you can accomplish so much more. You can go from making 700K a year to a million to 1.2. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Your job's
like
to facilitate their chosen identity.
exactly for their vision.
Mm.
Their vision is perfect. So every single person has their own success, right? And some people need a very, very low amount to be happy, and that's perfect. Let's help you
Yeah, man.
get that, right? And don't let
Yeah.
anybody else influence you of anything else, right? But it does. If somebody does say this is my vision, I really, really want that, then by hell and high water, I'm going to go and challenge you of what is the gap to get there. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
but
Go to
don't tell me you
therapy.
want
Go to this
this.
journey with me. You got to do something about this before
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
ever
yeah.
going to get to that big vision, man.
Exactly. Don't tell me you want this and then not back it up. Like, you know,
Mm.
like let's like if you really want it, we can go get there and but it's gonna be work. It's gonna be hard. So
Yeah.
and if you don't want it, that's
That,
totally cool.
that,
I'm not
that,
judging you.
I'm 48 years old, and I was not long ago, I was today years old when I discovered what you just said
Mm,
was, I always was the scale hustle, go build, I was hell bent from 2020 to 2023 to get to $1 million months in revenue. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? It was all I cared about because every time I would succeed, like I'd be like, we sat down when we first started our business and I was like, what would be a perfect life? And I was like, 25 grand a month. Like, I don't see how our life gets much better after that. We wrote down all the things we wanted. And we said 25 grand a month would do that. Let's get there. We got there. Wasn't satisfying. I don't know why. Just I'm looking at other people and I'm like, oh, is this where I'm supposed to be at? And,
Yeah.
then I was like, let's get to 100K a month. And I was like, oh wow, I did 100K a month, right? And I was like, cool. Then I started speaking and doing seminars, and I was like, I wonder if I could do like a 500K a month. I wonder if I can do an 800K a month. I wonder if I can do $1 million a month. And then we almost hit $1 million in sales in one of my companies in 2023, I believe it was. And I was on a meeting. I've told this story before on here, but like I was on a meeting and I was like, what were sales? Well, how do we end up? And my, COO reported it, and it was like 800 and something $1,000. And I remembered in that moment, I was like, damn, man, we almost got the million. And I was like,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
can you imagine? Go take me back to 2011, before when I was a school teacher making $2,500 a month, and I would
Wow.
create a company that would do that much money in revenue. It would have been a lottery ticket kind of celebration,
Yeah. Yeah.
But when it hit me, the only goal I had was money, and that's infinite. You cannot win that. You cannot win that goal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think you have to detach from those past goals. That's all I knew, like what to do. Like how do you detach from the past? Like I know how I do it now, but like I can do it pretty quickly now when I'm finding one of those old triggers popping up. I can pretty much get to the story and know it's not real and give it
Mm.
new meaning. But like how do you detach those anchors? Because I think that's the thing. If guys could do that, like they could get to that place where they could look at who they actually are in the mirror today. Now, how did you, besides psilocybin things like that, like how did you integrate that? Like how did you detach those old anchors?
Yeah, I think one of the best things that you can do is make it real, right?
Mm,
Like the more tangible, like you can't fix anything if you're not aware of it, and you can't address it if it's not tangible, right?
mm,
So, like literally just writing it down, naming it, writing stories, just like journaling on all of it, seeing all of it, going into it. So, for instance, like, have you, I mean, you're familiar with internal family systems, IFS,
Oh,
right?
I'm a parts work junkie. I'm actually about to take
Okay.
a I'm about to do a I'm about to do a training with Richard Swartz and his team,
Wow.
actually,
Cool.
for parts work because
Cool.
I want to bring it into our coaching more. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
mean that's
saying?
super powerful work, right? Is to go into the different parts of you, but also go into the experiences, go into those times where those beliefs were created, and like relive those and nurture and support and understand those. But there's also tangible things that like a lot of people will do in IFS of as far as like I like to think of it as far as driving in a car, and you think of a particular moment or emotion that you have, and you can see that like, hey, the 8-year-old version that experienced this one major experience in your life, they're the one that's driving the car in this moment, right? To drive
Mm,
that feeling. And you just have the experience of acknowledging them, moving them to the back seat. Like the more different examples, whether it's writing it down, making super specific, journaling all about it, having this car example, have somebody talk you through IFS, all these different ways are ways to take the the these anchors that you can't describe to make them super tangible to then realize, hey, that was the past and this is not
mm,
now, and it's not logical, and it's not, there's no real element to that now, and all these different things. It just helps you be able to shift it. So that's one of my biggest things is whatever you can make them real. And a lot of times you don't know, so you need support to help get more clear on that. But the more that you
totally. You
can,
have to have
the
some
more that
help
you
with
can shift
IFS
it.
kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like people like to guide you through it. And like I worked with a lady that actually she was one of the first trained clinicians from Richard Swartz on parts work, and she was mind blowing, like as a therapist. And one of the things that was really helpful that I learned was the first thing I had to do was get used to feeling like the
Same.
anxiety. Like I was having anxiety attacks back in late 23, early 2024. I couldn't place it, didn't know what it was. That's when I discovered parts work and someone kind of guided me like through this work. And the thing that I had to feel it all. Like I had to go where the anxiety was, figure out why that pattern existed in me. And then I remember one morning, man, I woke up and I was so anxious. I literally felt like getting up and running out of my room. And I just grabbed my covers and I said, "No, I have to feel this as hard as I can feel it
Yep.
right now." And it
Yep.
was terrifying. You know what I'm saying? But once I felt it, I could then start thinking, well, why do I feel this way? And it was because what was happening in my adult life was a similar scenario to what had happened when that nervous system pattern started.
Mm.
And then I did what you did, like you go back there and you're like remembering what had happened, you're remembering how it felt. And then you
Mhm.
get to a place where you're like, hey, self, child self, whatever it is, that was so good that you discovered this survival tactic then,
Mm.
but it does not apply to now. This is
Right.
an adult world and it's totally different. And like one of the crazy things about when you practice your inner world, you start getting better at it, like figuring out exactly what you think happened because memory is not accurate. It's only 20% accurate over 20 years. So if you're still dealing with childhood shit, you're dealing with a story that you made up, guys. I hate to tell you this. You don't even know what actually happened. But what I found helpful was I would go to that place. I remember this one place. There's this one place where my mom was crying. I remember when I was little. I don't know why. No clue. She didn't remember it. We've talked about it. I don't even remember. But I do remember like an anxiety in my life at that point. And but what I did then was I was like, wait a minute. what if I shift my perspective in that story? Oh, that human right there was having a hard day. That
Mm.
my mom was having a hard day that day. I don't even know why it was. She might have been anxious. She might have been sad. She might have been whatever. But I made it all about me in that moment because I was a little kid that was surviving. But now I'm an
Yeah.
adult. I can have empathy. I can feel for someone. I can hold space for them. Why
Yeah.
can't I do that shit in the past too? And I started holding space for myself and for other people and having empathy. And man, when I started doing that,
Oh
the
gosh, yeah.
anxiety started getting less and less and less and less. Like if I
Yeah.
go back now and I'm like, there's just one moment in high school. I won't go into the story, but I remember being brutally embarrassed in front of a bunch of people. And embarrassment's
Mm.
always been one of my biggest things, which is why I think I go on stages live with no net because I'm risking death and embarrassment, right? All the time through exposure. And like, I remember that moment that was really super embarrassing. And then I kind of just shifted outward with everybody like laughing at me and stuff. And I was like, hell, if that had happened to somebody else, that would have been hilarious. I'd have probably laughed at that too. Like that would have been really funny. And like those were my friends and they're still my friends. Like your real friends give you shit to your face and don't take shit from anybody behind your back about you.
Yeah. 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 Amen.
And I started having this empathy for myself in the past, but also these other experiences that were happening. And you can rewrite the damn story from the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have anything
100%.
you've just rewritten from the past that you thought was bad, and now it's like, holy shit, that was like one of the greatest moments of my life when I look back on it?
Oh man, good question. Nothing comes to mind, but there is something I want to double click on is like you mentioned the feeling of it. Like if you
Yes.
don't let yourself feel it, which I didn't do for the first 35 years of my life.
Oh, I didn't even know I had a body. Are you kidding me? I didn't even
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
for
that
real.
feelings were supposed to be in men's souls.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly. But if you don't let yourself feel it, then you store that emotion and it gets amplified over time, over and over and over and over again. So if you can't feel it, you can't let it go, right?
Mm,
So I went through a breakup last year and it just so happened that like we broke up on Thursday and I had a like men's ceremony psilocybin retreat Friday through Sunday, right? Like it just beautifully worked out from a timing standpoint. So I cried a ton on Thursday. I cried a ton on Friday. I processed it a little bit more on Saturday. And I was like, I was fully clean and ready for the next relationship in just a couple of days. Whereas before I had a relationship that just rocked me for like at least 6 months,
mm.
because I didn't fully let myself feel and let it truly flow and address that and whatnot. So you just learn those over time. But man, that's one of I mean, we're talking about great men. Great men gotta learn how to feel. That is
They gotta
so
learn how to
hard to
feel,
do.
dude. And like, not just feel. You
Yeah.
have to submit and surrender to the feeling. There's this great
Yeah. Yeah.
song. I love EDM music, and there's this amazing song by an artist named Closey or Clousey, however she says her name. I don't know. Whatever the kids call her these days, I like it. And it's called "Feel It All,"
Okay.
and it's this experience of, dude, you came here to be sad. You came here to be happy. You came here to feel joy.
Yeah.
And man, I have learned to love how to grieve and let those like tears out, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because man, the faster you can submit to that, the faster you're going to have like energy on the other side. And then when you come out of that feeling and it's released and it's kind of dealt with in your brain, you gain control back. You
Yeah.
can get your identity, your real identity back, and you can get like that trust in yourself back. And then you guys
Yeah.
do something really cool. You guys do this the 2 week vacation test. I've
Yep.
talked to Tom about this, where it's like, you tell him 2 week vacation, you know, it's testing your systems and it's doing all that, but it's really something like deeper than that. It's like seeing if a guy or a girl, whoever's running the business, can they release control? Do they trust their
100%.
identity? Do they trust their team? Like, what do you when you get your clients to do that 2 week vacation test? Like, what do you think it reveals about them, and
Yeah.
it reveals about how they're running their business beyond like the systems and things like
Yep.
that?
Yeah, well, first of all, it shows the reality that most people don't have a business, they have a job. They have everything
Mm,
built around them, right? And they haven't done that intentionally, but they've definitely done it, right? And their business goes through them, which is just again a glorified job. And what we do with the 2 week vacation test is like we have a series of steps that we work up so they can more and more and more detach mentally from the work and then detach physically from the work because we get consumed by it. It serves us, as you mentioned earlier, right? Like it gives us validation. It gives us the feeling of being needed. It gives us a dopamine hit by checking tasks off. But a lot of those feelings that we get from a safety standpoint, from a brain standpoint, are the exact things that are holding us back from bigger visions and more freedom and the things that we actually want. So we have to detach ourselves and build the team and structure so that we can have the optionality. At the end of the day, from a business standpoint, there's two things: alignment and optionality, right? You want everything that you do, from the business vision to to the business mission to how you spend your time, in alignment. And we want optionality because you may want to scale to the moon and build your empire. You may want to take a step back and build your family. You may want to go on a 2-week vacation. You may want to acquire another business and roll it in. All of that is only possible if you build your business to the point of optionality, which is meaning that you have operational excellence. You have the proper systems, numbers, and team in place that things can thrive without you, right? And once you're in that position, again, you can achieve any goal that you want: more money, more growth, more freedom, more impact. All of it is possible once you do that. So those are two key things, but we've really got to detach and we can't just go straight to, I mean, you could try it and go straight to a 2-week vacation from this moment right now, but a lot of things would fail, right? So what
You
we
could
need
also try a kerosene heater inside near an open flame, but it probably won't go too well.
yeah, exactly. But we got to work through these small steps, and that's why we have 7 steps. Where the 7th one is the 2-week vacation, because like you can't go straight there. You've got to mentally detach and then physically detach one by one, get more control of your time, and as you do so, you'll see that it leads to a lot more fulfillment, a lot less stress, a lot healthier business, and a lot more of what you really want, which is usually growth, impact, profits, freedom.
I think you just dropped maybe like one of the most bomb things I've seen on this podcast so far. Like hidden in there is a lot of people have revelations and know something's wrong and maybe even know what's wrong, and they just go straight to detach, like straight to the 2-week vacation or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But like it's a process, and but that's where the actual control is like you can be like, okay, the first thing we need to do is this. That takes a couple months. The second thing is a couple months, but it's the same thing with anything like mental health, physical health. It's like working out, man. If you're fat, I was fat. If anybody out there's fat, stop being fat, because I was fat and I'm not fat now, and it's better. Okay, I'm just gonna say it out loud. Take peptides and do TRT. But like when I started that process, it was like I'm not gonna go from 280 something down to the weight I want to be at tomorrow, but I can start my peptide now, and then 3 months later lost enough weight where I can start walking now, and then I can get my blood work checked and I can fix some of those things, and then you look up and you've got your 2-week vacation. You know what I'm saying? Like you actually
for
have
sure.
the freedom and the space to be able to like to do that.
Yeah.
But then dude, I freaking did the same thing, man. It was funny because I always thought scale would be harder, but then when I hired people, that's when I had time to go to Journeys and do therapy
Yeah.
because I could actually like work on myself again. The 2-week vacation is not even necessarily the beach and the margaritas. It's, can you do a month sabbatical and just freaking go to the woods and chill the hell out and actually figure out who you are when no one's looking at you?
Yeah,
Like,
it's one of the greatest hacks possible is to take time off. Like you get clarity, right?
unbelievable.
You see major opportunities of what to cut out and simplify. You see much more strategically, right? You get much more alignment. You make more permanent shifts from a time standpoint, things that you shouldn't be doing. So it is so valuable. Like every vacation more than pays for itself if you do it right, you know?
Totally, dude. Yeah. If you take a week off for a mastermind or something fun, like last week with hanging out with you boys at 2X, I didn't have anything to worry about. Tom called me like the Thursday before that and was like, bro, you coming down to Nashville? I'm like, shit, I don't even know. Yeah, I'll get in the car. Let's go. And like,
Yeah.
but I have the freedom operationally. I have the freedom to go do that. Right.
Cool.
And I'm always doing something. Like I'm moving my business forward even when I'm hanging out and doing things.
Yeah.
But like just getting away from the normal situation, my kids, whatever. Like I love my kids, but like just some space, even from my partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, and getting in a space where it was relaxing to hang out.
Yep.
And I had breakthroughs last week just sitting in my Airbnb after hanging out all day because I didn't have to think about like all the other stuff that I actually do.
Yeah.
You all have done some great things, man. I really just want to give you guys some props, man. Like I've been a business coach for a long time. I know everybody. I've seen all the programs. There's something special about 2X, man, and I think it's because it's got great men running it, like really
Mhm.
great men doing it. People who are not only doing the work on the hustle entrepreneur side, right, which is fine. That's all good stuff, but guys who are doing the work on themselves and actually integrating it into what they're doing for other people. And then also like getting people in space and actually hanging out like physically like together. And also you and Tom model you practice what you preach and you drink your own Kool-Aid. Like you guys, you went out and you took this big risk and you bought operations.com. You have this huge vision for like operations.com. And a lot of guys are being like, hey, this 2X thing, the coaching thing's going pretty good. The safe path is this and available, but we're going to have a vision for this. We're going to have an
Mhm.
idea for this. Like what was that process for buying operations.com? And then what are you guys hoping to build at operation.com for the future? Because that's a hell of a domain name, bro. That is
Yeah, it is.
incredible, dude.
It's gonna be a beautiful brand. So we're excited to get that out there in a big way and just help so many small businesses with operations and team. We see operations as the unlock, right? Like so many people are talking about sales and marketing, which we love. We love sales and marketing. Trust me, that is very important, and you want to nail that. But we see behind the scenes of all these businesses, and as soon as you open up the hood, you start to see, oh my gosh, these things are a dumpster fire. The team is stressed out. The owners are stressed out. They're not making nearly as much money as they should. They're not growing to the next level. Their, relationship is hurt because of it. Their family life is hurt because of it. Like all of these things that they really want are only possible with great operations. So we want to be that solution to teach the importance of it, what matters, how to implement it, and do so hands on with
And you
businesses.
guys are doing a lot of things with AI too, which is super
Oh yeah,
impressive. The,
yeah,
the agents I've seen you guys help people build and encourage people to get situated. Like
yep.
that's the game for operations coming soon,
Yep,
man.
exactly. Our biggest thing is AI powered operations, right? It's going to be the
Yeah.
core of everything. And we're able to get a lot more out of the current team, need a much smaller team, get a lot more efficiency, a lot more done. I mean, everything in your business at the end of the day is just a set of jobs to be done. So if we can help look at what are the best systems, AI and automation that we can put in place for those things, we can get a heck of a lot more done. So we're excited to get it out there and but it's all been a part of the original vision. Like the original vision was start with coaching to get access to hundreds of businesses, to create and refine our methodology, to then go and scale companies at scale with operational
Yeah, man.
excellence at the core. And then I built a relationship with this guy and he bought operations.com. And I said, you know what? He's going to call me in 6 months because he's a marketer. He's like not an operations guy at all. He's going to call me in 6 months because he knows I'm the operations guy, like in our relationship. Right. And he said, and be like, hey, I can't do anything with this. Like, I want you to take it or whatever. It was like 6 months and 21 days or something like that he called me and he said, hey, operations.com. So I called Tom. I said, hey, we got this opportunity. We're going to do this. And he's like, heck
Let's
yeah,
do
I'm
it.
in. So let's go. And, but yeah, it was all this like beautiful process that came together, but it's exactly aligned with our original vision to now go to a bigger market, to start to build our equity portfolio and help a lot more businesses in a big way. So it's great,
Our
man.
friend Marcus Gursey said something interesting the other day on the podcast that I thought was brilliant. Actually, we were off the podcast. I didn't even know this made the cut, actually. And one of the things that like with great men, I think guys get confused that vision has to be grand in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I'm more of I allow it to grow and become more grand as things reveal themselves because
Yeah.
I like to drive. I can drive 1,000 miles in the dark with my headlights on 100 feet in front of me, right?
Yeah.
And when I thought of the original vision of Great Men was I go on this houseboat retreat. I've been doing it for 10 years. We bring new guys in, and every year they say it's the best weekend of their life. It's the
Yeah.
best thing that's ever happened to them. We don't whiteboard. We don't mastermind. Nobody gets up there and gives a talk. It's just dudes in the forest with no cell phones and fires and cigars. And when I was sitting around this about 2 years ago, maybe I was like, I wonder if I could get more great men around a campfire smoking cigars with me. That was the vision, literally, was like, can I do this? Can I just invite my buddies? Can I just do whatever? And then as I did more work and I did the thing, I was like, man, like guys don't have this. Like this isn't just the vision now is I need to bring this to guys so they have this in their life if they don't have any access to the network and the people that I have. And it became like, I'm like, guys are alone growing their businesses, doing their thing, raising their kids, holding so much. Well, I need to bring them together in an online community, which is my background. I build online communities and memberships. That's what we've always taught. And then, but then it became like, and then even at the 2X Mastermind, I was like, nah, man, I just helped build a, $200 million live event company over the past 5 or 6 years. Like, I know how to do this. Like, how do we have a great men conference? How do I bring in Tom, Austin, Dustin, all these people, and we all bring? Like, how do I get all these guys in the room, like to get them whatever? And if you'll allow yourself to have a North Star from a true identity in the present, that North Star will get brighter and brighter as you get closer and closer to it. And it's probably, your vision's probably going to be bigger than you could have imagined or you ever could have even planned. Like, if you'll actually write it down, if you'll speak it out loud, if you'll have a plan and actually execute it. Usually when you get there, it's 10 times more than you ever thought about being. I got one more question for you, but I'm going to loop back just one time. You've mentioned a couple times journaling. And the funny thing is, when I work with guys and I'm trying to get them to journal and trying to get them to write things down, or even use ChatGPT or something just to log your day and kind of keep up with it. Like, what got you into that? It's been probably the most valuable tool I've had in my healing and my growth and my success, is being able to verbalize on the pad, slow down, write with my hand, and actually journal. What got you into that? And then, like, how do you practice that? I'm a daily journal guy. I journal at noon and at night every day to see what I'm doing.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Where did you
That's
get
great.
that up, and how's it helped you?
Yeah, a couple things. Like at the beginning, it was literally just having an Evernote that I would just like, if I had ideas, if I had quotes, if I had just anything, I would just like put it in this, like one of like two notes. One was basically like ideas and thoughts, and the other was this note called figure it all out. So any that was like a lesson or an epiphany or a quote or anything, so I need to go back and read that because I just had this thing all out. I was trying to figure it all out. I just like knew in my mind that I didn't know anything, and I just started my personal development journey in my early 20s, and I was just like trying to just consume it all. But so it was just like just those outlets to have, right? That was like my first touch. And then I started to go more towards actual journaling, and like one of the major triggers was the 5 minute journal. I don't know if you've
Mm,
heard of it. Very, very
I
popular
have.
thing, but it's a little bit guided, which I loved at the time, which was great, and it just gives you a couple different things. Part of that is gratitude, and it's hard to really understand, but and you've probably heard it a bunch of times, but gratitude is just so impactful, right?
Oh,
And it's just like it just helps like our reticular activating system and help us like see more of the positive and track more of the positive and whatnot. So that was like a big other one for me.
I
But what
call
I
them
do,
glimmers. You know how everybody says triggers? Like, gratitude is glimmers, like it's a glimmer of hope. It's a, well, I woke
yep,
up. Well, I had food. Well, I've got kids that are healthy. Like,
yep,
and depression and sadness cannot exist long in the presence of gratitude. It just
yep.
can't. Yeah.
100%, 100%. Yeah. But now what I do is a couple things. So I don't do it every morning, but at the end of my journal, I always have a journal. It's over there. That at the end of it, I put a line down the middle. All right. On the left hand side, I do key principles and ideas and like lessons that come up. So like key principles and ideas that I want to remember just based on my life. Like, and if you're constantly taking things back to first principles and lessons, like you're just going to consistently get better and live better based on those, right? And a
Yeah.
lot of people are just too busy to stop and reflect. So that's on the left hand side. On the right hand side is gratitude. And I'll go through and I'll just start listing out things. And it could be as simple as like a nice weather outside today. It could be, having a house. It could be whatever it is. Like it doesn't have to be this grand things. But if you just start on it, I usually am like, oh man, I don't know what to put. I just put one thing, then I put a second thing. Next thing I put like 10 things. And it's like all of a sudden, again, you're feeling better and grateful for those and grateful for the relationships and the conversations, whatever. And you do more of those positive things, right? So
Mm.
those like I do that most mornings. And then what I also do is I keep a note. So in Apple Notes every single month of those first principles and ideas. So I have another list there and I go back through that. So if somebody shares like a good quote with me or a key lesson or whatnot, so I have this ongoing evolution of these keynotes and ideas that I can go back year after year and just see that and go month by month and just like recap that. And I like to have like a second touch point of things. Like a lot of your gratitude list and stuff, like you won't go through necessarily, but I capture those key lessons, quotes, and
Mm,
principles and write those down. So that's my favorite form to do now.
yeah.
And then I love to get on a whiteboard and go deeper into something and just kind of journal it all out and everything on a visual whiteboard. That's a really therapeutic process as well. But those are kind of three ways that I do it now.
That's that. Yeah. Greatness flows through your lips and fingertips. I say it every episode, guys. Like it really does. If it's all inside of you, it's just going to start bouncing around and causing
Yep.
anxiety because there's so much energy in your head. Man, I was horrifically depressed for a while. Tom was really there for me and instrumental in talking through some of that. And like the way I got out of it was I had a mentor and he, he's an older guy, he was one of those guys you're like, I want to be him when I grow up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And he was talking about being grateful. And I just was like, I didn't feel grateful. I felt like there was nothing to be grateful for in this funk that I was in. And I was like, then I questioned myself and I said, wait a minute, that's not fucking true. That's not true. You do have things to be grateful for. You're just not looking for them, right?
Yeah.
So I started this journaling method. I just started writing down two things. This is where I started my noon and night journaling. I would write down two things at noon and night for each hour that I had lived that day.
Yeah.
And so at like 9 a.m., I would write down what I did and how I felt. And it started
Mm,
out like did work, felt like trash, whatever it was. And then but then I'd be like, took my daughter to lunch, felt pretty good. And I just started really, really simple. I'm talking one line. I'm just typing. And I actually started writing down at the end of the day, I would write a smiley face if that should make me happy. Like I should be grateful for this, right? Even if I didn't
mm,
feel it. And then
mm.
I would write down a frowny face beside anything that was like, yeah, that sucked. That really did suck. I lost a
Mm.
client, whatever happened. And I started counting it up every day, bro. And the 16 hours I was awake, it was always 14 to 1, 15 to 2, 13 and 3. Like I had this, and I was picking up these winning streaks of it's not the whole day. You can't let that one negative feeling happen. Well,
Right.
then I started doing it in Claude. I
Mm.
started doing this process in Claude, and now Claude can go back and like once a month I go, show me the patterns where happiness emerged. Show me what was happening before the moments where I was sad. Show me what was going on and doing these things. And it takes 5 minutes, literally a couple times a day. And that has been, I can't get down much anymore because I'm like, what the hell do I have to be down about? This is amazing. I'm actually doing
Right.
the things that I want to do, but you can't do it if you don't document it. You can't lose weight if you don't track your calories. You can't get stronger if you don't write down what you lifted last week. And you sure as hell ain't gonna be happy if you don't even notice when you're actually happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
got to
Amen.
freaking journal, dude. All right, last question, bro. I love you, man. This is a great conversation, bro. Thanks for being
Yeah.
vulnerable and just all the stuff that we're going to do together. I'm going to talk about a little bit something here in a minute. But you've built a company, done a lot of good work personally, coached hundreds of entrepreneurs and businesses. I'm sure, like me as a coach, you've watched men win at the highest level and celebrated with them, and also quietly fall apart. Right? We've all
Yeah.
seen that before. But for you, because I think your core values are going to be expressed as you're coaching people, helping people, building companies. What does greatness look like for Austin? Like, what's greatness on your terms in your life? Like the identity that you have right now in the present.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what we talked about. Greatness to me is being yourself, full out, unleashed, right? And that unleashed word is really, really powerful, of like taking off the reins and just full expression of who you are and what you want to be. That is greatness, right? And the more that I
Mm,
can step into that, the happier that you are, the better that you are, the more success that you have, the more of that you get what you really want. So the secret to life is to be yourself full out. And the better that you do at that, the more that you win. That's greatness. And, I'm grateful for the journey that I'm on, that I feel so much more like myself, so much
mm.
more like than I did 5 years
You
ago.
feel more like yourself than the first time I
Oh
met
my
you, bro.
gosh, dude. It's just, it's night and day, night
Yeah,
and
man.
day. And I'm like, why didn't people scream this from the rooftops. Like,
Why didn't they tell me this when I was 10? So I could
yeah,
start working on it, man.
yeah, exactly. So, let's scream it from the rooftops. Be
Yeah, bro.
yourself and do the work to take off the armor to be yourself. And I'm still on this journey. Like 5 years from now, we're gonna be looking back and be like, holy shit, like I have transformed in a big way.
Who were
I'm
we on
so
that
much more
podcast? That's
myself.
bullcrap.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it, man. Greatness is being yourself.
Good deal, man. It's good stuff. What a great word. And you got a lot of great stuff going on, like at 2X. And, you guys are having another mastermind, I think, in June. Is that correct? Something like that.
Oh yeah.
Highly recommend everybody check you guys out for that. Where can they go right now? If someone's got a business, they need some help with operations, they need some help getting AI into their business, you better do it now, guys, because you got about 6 months left, and we got to get everything rolling before everybody starts to do it. But how can they check out what you and Tom are doing over at 2X and operations.com?
Yeah, it's truly separation season. Either you're going to lean in and change the game, or you're going to get left behind. And it's like I'm not trying to be a doom or gloom guy, but like it is moving so fast right now. The whole world is spinning right in front of us, and you got to move. So operations.com, very simple. Go there, check it out. And we've got a lot of resources, a lot of things in the ways that we can help you install AI to optimize your business. So that's a key one. And then also 2x.co. We've got a couple books. Those are great things to check out first, depending on where you're at. We've got the 2-week vacation test from 6 to 7 figures. We've got other books coming out. So operations.com, great place to start. 2x.co, another great place. Lots of resources there. And reach out anytime, Instagram or whatever. Happy to chat, happy to point you in the right direction, and just help you achieve your vision, whatever that is. That's what lights me up. And I feel like I was put on this earth to lead leaders. The leaders that I chose to serve are entrepreneurs. And it's just beautiful that we get to do this journey together and help everybody unleash. And like that's what helps me unleash.
Heck
So
yeah,
I
man.
appreciate you being on that journey too, Shane.
It's going to be good, man. You guys are the only business coaches I recommend. Is
Mm,
Austin Netzley and
mm.
Tom Sylvester. Head over there and check everything that they've got out. And also, too, first time I've ever said this out loud, the first Great Men Gathering is going to be the Saturday before 2X, baby. So we're going to
Let's
be
go.
hanging out together. We're going to have a Great Men Gathering somewhere in the Denver area. I'll give you guys more information about that. But Austin, man, love you, brother. Thanks for being on the show today, dude.
Love you, man. Appreciate you.
All right, man, that wraps up my conversation on the Great Men podcast with Austin Netzley. Man, I've seen him grow and evolve, and I've had a front row seat at what's happening at 2X, what's happening at operations.com. And I think that Austin and Tom Sylvester, who's also been on the Great Men podcast, you will definitely be hearing from those guys more in the future as we all grow together. They are really the epitome of guys that are not just working hard, not just hustling, not just building the business, not just aiming at a new revenue goal, but they are actually writing their story. They are doing the work to unanchor from the stories of the past, because they are stories. And the faster you realize that, the faster you realize you can rewrite those old stories to your benefit. And I loved what Austin said. I just got to highlight this one more time. Like, you've got to get in the present and understand your true identity now. That's where the gap is. You're either comparing yourself to a future version of yourself, or you're comparing yourself to another version of a successful person you're trying to be, and it's not working out for you, or you're comparing yourself to a past version of yourself. But like, who are you now and who are you becoming? Like, once you land in the present and you've dealt with those anchors from the past and you get that identity piece, man, not the identities everybody's put on you, not what, the people growing up said to do, not what the people that you've served in the past expect you to be, because you're allowed to change. Once you get that done, now, once those two things are in place, you can look at vision. And your vision can be whatever the hell you want it to be. That's what greatness on your own terms means. You don't have to listen to all the people online that tell you what you should be doing. Don't let people should all over you. It's just a big pile of stinking should, right? Like, what do you want to do? Who do you want to become? What kind of income do you want to make? How much influence do you want to have? Who do you want to influence? What is the impact you want to make? How do you make meaning in your life? You don't have to find your calling. You don't have to find your purpose. You don't have to take your mission that you were meant to do and you were born to do this. You just have to decide. Decide to do the work. Decide to free yourself from the past. Decide to write your own identity in the present and cast your vision for the future. That is the path for good men to become great on their terms, guys. We'd love to have you as a part of our community. Head over to greatmen.org. You can check out what we're doing in there. We've got a forum and we've got a community online where we hang out together. We do online virtual events. We've got an online forum every single day that you can come in and check in with you. You know, one thing I know as a man, not a lot of people come up to me and say, yo, seriously, how are you feeling today? Like, what's going on? Like what, not what's happening, just that, you know, the tactics and the this and the that, and this happened in the story and whatever. How are you feeling? Are you anxious? Are you depressed? Are you burnt out? Are you happy? Are you grateful? Are you sad? Like, what's going on with you, man? Like, come over here and feel it. Come over here and talk about it. And that's what we're doing inside of the Great Men Brotherhood at greatmen.org. We've got a couple paid tiers, but we also do have a free tier. I never wanted there to be a gate on getting into the online community. So you can check that out right now at greatmen.org. You can go in, you can get access to all this different stuff. You can see how we set everything up when we get in there. But we've got a growing community of great men who are really doing the work that me and Austin talked about today. If you want to get more content from me, of course, subscribe to the podcast. Go leave us a 5-star review. Send this to your text message full of buddies. Send this to any man out there that's struggling right now, and he needs to come in and get around some great dudes and hang out to realize he's not alone. All right, so check that out. Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast, all that good stuff. And then I do write on Substack every single week. I believe that is substack.com/@ShaneSams. I release articles. I just have an article that released this week called I Am the Lightning, and so are you. And it kind of tells the journey of how I shed some of those past identities, how I turned out the voices that were external, and how I broke free from the cages and the boxes and the bottles that my soul, my lightning, was kind of trapped in by other people, and how I got to the other side of that. So you can check that out over on Substack. And then if you are on Instagram, you can follow me over at Shane Sams Creates. That's more just hanging out, personal life. Send me a message. Let me know what you need. My goal with Great Men and the Great Men Project is to help men to rewrite their past and reclaim the past and untether from those anchors. It's to find that identity in the present. I'm stealing that. I'll give him credit twice. But Austin, the identity that you are in the present. And then our goal is to help you cast a vision for a future that looks exactly what greatness looks like for you and for your family. All right, it's all the time we have for this week. Take something that you learned from today's podcast. Maybe it's start a journaling practice. Maybe it's have a little more gratitude, or maybe it's start untethering from those anchors. But go do the work. Integrate what you heard today. We'll be back next week with another great man on the Great Men Podcast with Shane Sams. I'll see you then.